Awesome, guys. I think since the bot called the shots, let's follow Greta's word and let's get started with the 17th community call, November 1st. Thank you, everybody who was able to make it to this call. I count right now about 25 members, and that's about half of the members usually joining the bi-weekly. It's probably, as mentioned, due to the holidays. That's all right. Cool. So usual updates on BabelFish's social media accounts. We've passed 3,000 followers on Twitter, which is great. Small success. Same on Discord. And yeah, and on Telegram, we're about 1,500. And we also have a new account on Instagram, BabelFish Money. That's at about just a bit over 100, which is also nice to see the development over there. Cool. So there's a few things that have happened since last time in the community call. What we did, we gave like a we shared our screen to show the work that was being done on the front end for governance and also for for minting and withdrawing and redeeming XUSD. And as promised, finally, we're ready to start with governance. Looks like this week, but we would like to test it before with you guys. The thing about having DAOs on RSK, and this is not an excuse, but it's just an observation for you guys to be aware. Building DAOs, it's becoming really easy. Today, there's a lot of more and more tools to to help solve all of these coordination failures that we have on DAOs to track who's doing what and to properly reward. There's more and more tools being developed, but they're mostly being developed for the Ethereum ecosystem. And so, as mentioned on the previous call, us at BabelFish, we're sort of like, we got, we launched through Sovryn, we're following their example, and by forking Bitocracy, their governance on their front end for Bitocracy, it's sort of like we're in the incubating phase. BabelFish is before it can really go into the acceleration phase. So in this part of incubation, which is how I like to see it, it's where we're still learning how to use these first primitive tools that are, eventually, I think, going to continue to be replicated on RSK. And BabelFish just so happens to be, the first on that cohort of upcoming protocols in RSK. But yeah, we're really excited, and we believe that, if we can nail, if we can excel governance, then, trustlessness can really win. And so that's really what we're gonna put our main efforts, towards until the end of the year, beginning of next year. And once we really properly nail that, I think all of the cool things will start to happen. So I would like to share my screen again, just to share with you guys. And first, let me just share the link on the questions chat. This is a link that we have right now. It's being hosted. Sovryn, they do not use AWS. They use sort of like a different, it's like a more decentralized server. It's called a cache network. And so we're sort of like hosting it there to begin with at this early stage. And what we would like to do this week, we will share some communication, basically asking you to come over to the Bitocracy. This is how it looks. Connect your wallet if you have some fish. Go to stake. And please be a bit patient. Like, it takes some time for the governance to load, but you can connect already from RSK mainnet. So we're basically testing on mainnet. And what we will make some calls from the community is for you to go to stake and find a lot of potential bugs that there will be. So again, this takes a bit of time. It's a bit slow. We're seeing it live right now here. Let's see if let me refresh it because I was on the wrong network. Cool. So yeah, so this is me. I was just sort of like beginning to experiment. You can come in here. You can, if you have fish, you will see the option to add new stake. If you don't, you will not see this option. And then, just feel free to add new stake. You can add in here, the percent of fish that you would like to add, the same vesting. Again, this is a complete fork of Bitocracy. So if you are familiar with Sovryn's governance, this will look very familiar to you. It should also tell you, the voting weight that you're expected to receive. And then, yeah, that's basically what we would like you to experiment with here. We've already received some feedback from the community on errors in terms of like, the copy that was appearing here. So we just want to make sure before we have the first votes that, we heard your feedback, we tested it on mainnet, and then we can finally begin making votes that we've been discussing on the previous community calls. Yeah, so other things we want to share, analytics. We reached sort of like, the top deposits. We were really happy to celebrate 20 million in deposits. We've had a few outflows recently. But again, we're just, like I mentioned, sort of like in the incubation phase, we're just figuring out governance, and we really haven't made any protocol improvements. So we are like at the stage of really understanding the tooling available in RSK, getting our governance right, continuing to build our team. So yeah, once we really start governance and start implementing some improvement proposals, we really expect this number to to grow rapidly. We're still missing liquidity mining incentives as well as governance taking, right? So rewards. So there's a lot of things that are coming that way. We do not want to start announcing things that are yet to come too far away. But there's a lot of things being worked on by the community through bounties in a very permissionless way. And we will be sharing them as they're more close to being delivered, just so we're not announcing announcements. So yeah, even though it's declined a bit from 20 million, which was sort of like our local top, or 21 million in terms of XUSD deposited, this, by the way, this is a dashboard that was made by a community member. It's a bounty. Thank you to the community member. He's in the call, or she's in the call. But another bounty was submitted during the Covalent hackathon, and this was more like a hackathon that BabelFish gave a bounty of $2,000 to see the stablecoin supply on RSK. So what's interesting is that even though we went down a bit, XUSD in just 5 short months, it's already the largest stablecoin in RSK. So that says a lot. And again, like we're just really excited to expand our tech team and get governance running, and then we can really take BabelFish to achieve the main objectives that we set out initially from the conversations in Sovryn's forum back to today. The whole objective that we're here on BabelFish is to facilitate stablecoin flow, and not really to build a meme coin, right? So there's a lot of meme coins out there, and they're adding a lot of dangerous stablecoin collateral. They seem to be doing well. But from our experience, most meme stablecoin projects tend to fail. I would say the majority of stablecoin projects have failed in this ecosystem, which is interesting, and we will be writing more about that. So, we're moving slowly. Right now, we're accepting the major sort of like centralized stablecoins, but we're not doing any sort of like speculation. We're right now only offering that, making it really easy to aggregate stablecoin liquidity, bring it over to RSK. But still, we believe there's a lot that we can do in the decentralized stablecoin space, so long as we have the right parameters that will enable us to properly hedge our collateral and not have a large percentage of potentially dangerous stablecoins. So that's kind of like the metrics where we are, and we're in terms of XUSD supply and how we compare in the ecosystem as of today. Another thing that we wanted to share, this is also another bounty. A lot of people have mixed feelings when it comes to the BabelFish money landing page. It's a website that was built pretty quickly and lean by a team member on Notion. But there's a lot of mixed feelings. Some people want us to update it. So this was a bounty to get like brand guidelines, and we wanted to like also share it with you guys, sort of like the direction that we're going. We will also be sharing this link now in the community chat. If you have some feedback there, we're just looking at changing the typography and making it just a bit more modern, and to make it look less less like it looks very lean, the current website that we have. And so we're just probably going to stay with these are the main themes that we've been seeing from the community, retrofuturism, inspiration from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, cyberpunk, We have, of course, a fish astronaut being developed in the Babelverse. And the colors that we find that we really like, it's black and yellow. Those are the colors that they're going. We want to start playing more with lines, something that represents, fluidity, flow. At the same time, it's a line that can be straight, like a stablecoin. These are the main colors, right? We're keeping it very much duochrome, but yellow is sort of like the accent. And again, we will share this if you have some additional comments for this, but this is kind of like where the dolphins have been taking it. And this is likely like a simple website that we're going to update it. This drawing, it's just for the mockup. We're getting already feedback about the alien-looking hands or Pixar-looking hands from Disney or something. But we really like where this is going. It's very minimal. It keeps it to BabelFish. And in here, it's likely going to be, again, very minimal. If you want to see the code to GitHub, the code to Gitbook, and the code to the Notion workplace. So speaking of Gitbook, that's also a bounty that someone took over, a great bounty, and he's been doing a great work. So, a lot of people also have been having trouble navigating all of the content that we have on BabelFish. So we're also going to be sharing this link on the chat with you guys. But basically, it's here we have all of the information that we have on the website, but it's just better to the eye, I suppose, cleaner to navigate, and this will continue to be updated. There's even more information here when it comes to finding the contracts, etc. It's all going it's much easier to find here. And again, this will continue to be updated. What we are most looking forward to add into the Gitbook as well, as mentioned in the previous call, we have the people that are working on the BabelFish front end. They are let me see where I have it here. 1 second. BabelFish, sorry, not. So the devs that were working sort of like in the front end that we're going to be using for deposits and withdrawals, this is very basic for the alpha version. It doesn't have data, doesn't have much, but it's lean enough that what we want them to focus on once this is deployed in the coming weeks, it's for them to create documentation that can be added to the Gitbook to facilitate other protocols to do their own front end and add it to their protocols. We think this is going to accelerate adoption in RSK first and then outside of RSK. So yeah, those are the main bounties that I wanted to share, and also other bounties that are coming along, and this is more for like on the content side. It's taken us some time to create like a sort of like a content team, but right now we're going to start doing weekly stablecoin news summaries, and they're going to be basically like very, very visual, not that much text, quick summary of the top 5 stablecoin news of the week. And so we will be sharing those with the community. We think that's important, and the ecosystem needs it as a whole. And then on stablecoin research, from the same bounty, the same person also chose to start filling and keeping up to date sort of like high-level research of the main stablecoins that are out there. This is a work in progress, but we're really happy to see it, already running. And yeah, those were kind of like the main updates that we wanted to share with you guys. So I will stop sharing. I will share the links to the new brand guidelines. I will share the link to the Gitbook. And yeah, and now we're also doing this call in this channel. Just again, we would like to. Last time we tried to stream some of the Babelverse, but we had some issues with the sound, and I think there's some more updates that Novax wants to share with us. And then after that, if we have 5 minutes or so left, we can start opening through for questions, or even during the BabelFish demo. Just feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. So those are the main updates on where BabelFish is, the progress with the bounties, and where we're going. So as usual, my call to everyone on this participating on this call, you see that most of the things that are happening are permissionless community members just going over and claiming a bounty, and if the bounty is not listed, filling out the experimenter's form, and from there starting a conversation with us and taking it from there. So yeah, so again, anything that you feel like would add value, we're really constantly looking for it. And on the dev team, we also hope to be finding sort of like a dolphin for the dev school, which is also going to be really cool. We hope to have more updates there for you on the next community call regarding progress with that school recruitment. Yeah, so Novax, if you want to take it away, I will unmute myself.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm standing by here and happy to share. I've got some things queued up to share, but I thought I would ask Dak, who's on the call, and also Galactic Cyclist, and I think Dragon Bro's in here as well. So what do you guys think? Are you guys wanting to screen share some stuff on your end and do some demo for us, or did you want me to do that? I'm happy to do either way. If you're queued up to go, though, it might be cool to see it through your eyes. You have to unmute sometimes on your microphone and on the Discord UI. And if you're having trouble, just check your settings and go to your audio and make sure that your headset's selected. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and press on. So if you click on the screen share, I should be able to go ahead and share my whole screen with you guys. Let me know if you can see my screen. I'll pull up the BabelVerse. I just created this character. I just relaunched this build, so forgive my tacky appearance. I just randomly picked from the many pixel art options that Dragon Bro has been cranking out. A ton of shirts and hats and beards, eyes, different color fish. Ooh, can I get up here? Nope. And all sorts of fun accessories, and that's been a lot of fun. A lot of comedy, and a great way for us to introduce sci-fi inspired characters and mimetic themes that we like and want to have inside of BabelVerse. So we're pretty excited about all the customizations. In addition to that, we set out, so this is the 1st of November, and right about the 1st of September, we'd set out on a quest, I guess you might call it. And that quest was one of discovery, one that was really about just rapid prototyping. And so our objective was to follow this principle that Pop Thinking and Dak and Galactic Cyclist have followed for 20 years in the development of the various games and educational tools that they build. And that's about, build up and tear down. So everything that you see here is just, it's kind of a draft version, but we build in such a way so that we're very flexible. Everything's lightweight, easy to reproduce. We build in a modular way so that we can have that modular ability for users in the future to be able to become part of the building. And so, yeah, those are just some of the things about BabelVerse. And I guess one real critical question, and forgive me if I'm just going on and on here, please feel free to chime in at any time. Anyone wants to unmute and ask questions and fire away, jump right in. I'm kind of waiting for Dak and those guys. I hope they can get some audio going so they can share with you, because they have really been putting the effort in way over the top on this, and it really shows. So there's things in here that I'm not even aware of that they've done. Oh, I heard to unmute. Who's that?
Yes, no, I just wanted to ask, as we move closer to having our first governance votes, we definitely, I think that BabelVerse has a lot of potential. So I was wondering what your plans are there, what your estimates may be in terms of like, it's not a project, it can be like one of the first 5 proposals based on what I'm seeing, no?
Right. Yeah, I really wanted to focus on when the forum went live. We had talked about, okay, what order do we want to do our BIPs, our BabelFish improvement proposals in? What's top priority? And of course, those functions that are core and essential to the protocol, to the founding vision of the stablecoin aggregator, the savings product, the XUSD having a Bitcoin insurance component that's well funded. So there's quite a bit of work to be done there, both in terms of voting and decision making, and then also in the pursuant implementation of decisions. So in the meantime, we've been developing Babelverse in this rapid prototyping way to come along as a community and marketing, but also springboard for the protocol, so that there's a place. It's more of out of necessity. It sort of originated that we said, well, we have these artists making this wonderful work. Let's put it in a gallery where we can all see it. And then we started thinking, well, what if we could sell these as NFTs in a 3D NFT gallery where we can go in, and the psychology, the price psychology of that in an MMO type of environment with 100 people standing in front of this new art that's for sale. It's an interesting dynamic that we've set out exploring. But in terms of how and when we intend to kind of unveil this to the general public, the broader public, we want to first roll it out in the browser, password protected, for our community to give feedback and to take ideas like this forum structure, the forum building, and implement our governance into there in a way where you could be able to vote right inside of Babelverse potentially, or link right out into the voting. And to start, and then implement those nested integrations, which are a little bit more challenging with Wallet Connect and things like that. So there's a lot to consider, both in terms of the blockchain aspects of it and just the functional aspects. But the core thing is that everything in here really should be about serving the protocol and building the protocol. So that means over in Fishtoshi's dojo, we want to have people learning about all the aspects of the protocol and of DeFi and private keys and all the core values of decentralization, where you're going to be learning from an NPC character over here who's just a draft. He's a little orange. We're kind of joking. I think he has a little jaundice or something. He needs a little more yellow. And we're going to kind of redesign him based on Wakwa's art. But the idea is that you would enter into the dojo, and then you would, and I have the music down right now. There's some epic music that's being composed and drafted as well. Maybe you can hear it now that I've cranked the music up.
Can't hear.
No, you can't. Bummer. Sometimes the audio sharing in Discord is a little finicky. But the idea is that you'd be over here doing your educational modules. And then as you advance through the educational modules, you can proceed on, playing more in the arcade. So, and then the arcades have a high score board as well. So there's just so much to share here, and it's a little bit challenging to communicate it all. But the vision is to have this arcade area where you can jump in here and play. You can see the high score list. President George Washington Green is still at the top of Slappy Fish. Good job, George. That's me. And I guess this build might not be linked up at this time. So we can get in here and play all our different mini games. Now, the coolest and newest addition that we shared the other day that is really just a sneak peek for the future is that we have unlocked some of the primitive implementation of MMO functionality. So we won't have that up in the first build, but shortly thereafter, we will be jumping around these spaces together in real time. So right now, I think we can have up to 20 people doing that when we do roll it out in the coming months. But in the short term, we have got quite a bit of foundational stuff that needs to be polished before we can move on there. Any specific questions about Babelverse? I'd love to take those and chat about this now. If you guys have ideas, we have a forum structure, an idea to integrate the forum in there, so we can all just be like in our community call, hanging out right here, jumping around together, grabbing some Fishtoshi coins, playing some games, and we can go over to the forum. If Dark Knight says, "Oh, I've just posted something on the forum, you might want to check that out," well, we can all scramble over there and read it right inside of Babelverse. And I just think it provides the opportunity for a real unified experience that can be great for us as an existing community, but it can also be a real point of attraction for other people who are not part of our community, who are saying, "Wow, what are they doing over there? They're building a whole game that's just kind of ancillary to their protocol." So to me, that just communicates the value of the protocol and the ambitious vision of what we're doing, but also the substance behind it.
I know, Vax.
Yeah.
There's what we can do is Dak just called me, and he his new computer does not have a microphone on it. So you glad this stuff, especially with the multiplayer server, the things I've been working on, which is good. If we want, we can allow Dragon Bro to stream a little bit of BabelFish World as well, which is, I believe, one of the connecting Dak. Not exactly where that's going to be. I'm still working on this, but that's going to be part of the whole solution. So it's maybe if you want to see if he can pop in and do that, we could have him share that as well. But we've got a lot of development going on right now. And I literally, you're working with a build right now that I literally just put a new character controller in, and I have not wired up all the interactivity. So I'll get that up and running here shortly. My apologies, because I didn't realize you were getting information this morning.
Oh, no problem at all. I have like the previous build somewhere. I just didn't label them real good the last time I was downloading them. But yeah, let's get Dragon Bro. I just stopped sharing, so Dragon Bro, if you're able to share your screen and walk us through some BabelFish World. It's the coolest mini game I think we have. It's like side scroller, Mario sort of inspired, but with a lot more functionality and some kind of cool kitschy style to it. So that'll be fun to see.
Hey. Yeah, for sure I can do that. Let me start up right now.
Hey, and while you're doing that, Dark Knight had commented before the call started about Samurai Badger's avatar with Captain Fish on it there. So in the CC questions chat, I posted the PDF of the coloring book, the children's coloring book PDF, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. If any of you guys have kids and you want them to submit and draw on the coloring book, we want to do something cool with that, like a little Babel Kids competition or something. So that's just the first one in the works. If you guys want to play with that, feel free.
Right.
You load it up?
Yeah. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So here we've got BabelFish World, and this is just a project me, Dak, and a few others have been working on. And here we've got our little world select. We've got the Vogon ship, right, when they're captured by the Vogons, or we've got playable as the beach of Beth Salomon, and then we've also got the Cowards of Magrathea. And
yes,
just a second here.
So cool.
This is definitely something we've been working very hard on for the past few days, or past few weeks rather. Yeah.
Yeah, at least a month. I think you've been working on BabelFish World.
At least a month, yeah. So then we've got the beaches of Beth Salomon here. We're jumping around. We've got some of the robots that are being advertised on the beach, and
you have a double jump. You can jump in the air.
Yeah, you can double jump. And we've also got, if you look here, we've got the blue Belcerebrons, who are just they're kind of nutty. They're talking to themselves, and they're drinking a little bit of this
It's a gargle blaster, isn't it?
It's a gargle blaster. Yeah, how did I not know that? And these we decided to do a little freestyling here and put these piranha plants, these alien piranha plants everywhere. Don't go down here.
So those are not inspired by Hitchhiker's Guide. That's a little bit of ad-libbing the piranha plants.
Yeah, a little bit. And cool. Our level designer has been doing a lot of secret areas and stuff like this.
Oh, I found a secret area. I don't remember what level it was in, but I found an Easter egg. It was cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I remember seeing DeFi Dragon Bro or Novax that there was like a game that the coins were the stable coins that we accept on BabelFish. In theory, like all of these coins could be like mixed coins of the stable coins that XUSD can be minted with. Yeah.
Yeah, that could
Yeah,
be a
this
good
is
idea.
it's
I'll
a really
definitely
cool
check into it.
tokenomics question, right? Because it's like we don't want to mislead our users into thinking that they're picking up dollars every time they grab a coin. But at the same time, there is kind of an element of gamification to the idea that the BabelFish protocol ingests stablecoins and emits XUSD. So to the extent that we can gamify that concept without creating confusion, I think it's a really cool thing.
Definitely. And yeah, our level designer is a old friend of
Is that a
mine, and it's really nice just seeing these levels that he's been cranking out. I think it's up to like 3 a day, and each of them has at least 2 secret areas.
This is really cool because it makes me think this game can also be combined. If you guys are familiar with Pool Together, which is sort of like a lossless lottery. So there is something about, like a lossless lottery. And if you add in the element of if you are like number one player or the best player in that week, adding something to. So it's not just a random lottery, but if you win for that week, the top places, your chances increase. So that's something also to consider.
Exactly. Yeah, we like this idea of having a community chest so that like when people buy things inside of Babelverse, if they buy upgrades or if they buy new fish or whatever with fish or with RBTC or whatever, like we want to figure out a way so that the primary currency, some percentage of the buys can go towards a community chest. And then that community chest can be kind of continually renewed in order to pay out rewards, on an interval, like every month or every week. It's probably going to be difficult to just, manually process those transactions all the time. So we do make sure you guys are muted if you're not intending to chat. But yeah, I think that will be super, super exciting to offer that incentive. But we also do want to be careful because you can create a lot of opportunity for exploits when you start providing in-game rewards that have, real world economic value. And so some of the things that we've been talking about for the early implementations of that to ensure that the security protocols are bulletproof is to issue rewards that are consumable, right? So we have the fish tank. Maybe Dragon Bro can show us a fish tank. But the fish, the fish tank could be something that we develop. There's so many cool ideas for gamification. You have to understand that Dak has been building games for his whole life, and he was inspired by the Atari. So I'm kind of dating him, but he was playing Atari, so he's a few years old, a decade older than I am. And so all of those old game mechanics, those lost game mechanics from Atari, are actually some of them are really, really cool and just haven't really been revived by anyone for any reason. And we just see there being a lot of opportunity to implement some of those concepts in with a fresh look, a fresh view on it. So that's not really what we're doing with BabelFish World. That's kind of more of classic in some ways of a platformer, but in the rest of what we're doing, like there's kind of no limits. Dragon Bro, what else do we have in the pipe that I haven't communicated? Because I know there's like a whole grab bag of goodies.
We're definitely trying to add different features and things. Like if you saw in what I showed you, there's like a key code door, and then we're also working on implementing some traps and stuff. And we definitely want to keep that sort of classic Mario feel, but we still want to have our own sort of twist.
Yeah, and the BabelFish World is one of many different games, so that kind of classic Mario feel would be specific to that mini game. And then we also have Slappy Fish, and there's a kind of a Pac-Man style game that I think that was one of the first that we did that hasn't been developed very far since then. But then the Trawl Invaders is also needs. I think that would be great to develop and build out on. But BabelFish World is the mini game that we've developed out to the furthest extent at this point. But just within the Babelverse, try to imagine a game within a game within a game. Try to imagine that you're playing a meta game of learning about stablecoins and DeFi and BabelFish, so that you can access further gaming in the arcade. And then within those various arcade games, as you're traveling between the Fishtoshi's Dojo and those arcade games, well, there are other game mechanics like Dak has proposed that when you're jumping around in the BabelFish world in the starport in the main lobby area, that you require water to survive. So you're fish out of water. So you have to kind of, your water meter goes down and you'll die, and then you'll have to respawn, you know, back up at the top of the tower. So to kind of keep people, you know, enjoying the searching aspect of the game and the discovery aspect, finding new area, but then being sensitive to the fact that you can't just wander aimlessly because you need to find those pools of water to regenerate your fish. And then also the gamification aspects of the meta fish tank, where all of the various fish that you are buying and developing, customizing, and playing with coexist and live in their ecosystem while you're not playing the game, and you will have to feed them and earn rewards in game to customize and kind of pimp out their fish tank with different moss and algae and rocks. You know, really, you kind of a little homage to those '90s, you know, Pimp My Ride shows and things like that. Kind of really feed your fish as well. A little stablecoin pizza and stablecoin, you know, what inspired foods and snacks and things of that nature. So we're just having tons of fun with it, and then of course having our kids play testing it. You know, Dragon Bros. You know, not really a kid anymore, but like, you know, my kids are 3 and 7, and so both of them are providing cool feedback and ideas, and that just amplifies the creativity and the excitement around building it and the fun that we're having.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we sort of want to do, building off of your earlier point, where we kind of want to have a bunch of really small, detailed features and work on just those small things of, oh, I get to build a little sandcastle in my fish tank. Those little details can definitely make a difference, because when you have a bunch of really small features and you put, eventually over time, that will build up and put together overall a very nice game. And we want to sort of work off of that and work on just specific things first.
Nice, Dragon Bro. Well, your skill set here on the pixel art, on the development, on the Unity Pro Builder, communicating those and supervising your buddy who's doing level design. I imagine that list of people that you're working with will continue to grow as we submit for the funding for the grant that we want to secure from this community. So we'll be sharing with you guys everything that we're doing and our hopes and our vision with it. Right now, the prototyping phase, kind of the first prototyping phase just came to an end. So we're gearing up for the second phase, which is going to be codified and defined in clarity here in the coming days, so that all of those deliverables are itemized and made clear and that we have a deadline for the next development goal. But right now, in the short term, you can expect to have a build that we can play and share these developments from this first phase. And as I think Galactic Cyclist mentioned, he's just stitching together those things for that final prototype build. So I shouldn't say final build, but final prototype build that we can share out with you guys shortly. All right, so we're at 10:42, the magic 42. Let's open up for general chat now. General questions. I saw Lightbringer was in the house in the CC questions chat. Thanks for popping in, coming over and hanging with us. Let me see if I can do some muting for you, Lightbringer. How's that? Are you able to speak now? Or did I just meet the wrong person? Sorry.
I just want to add in there, it's interesting. I was looking at sort of like a ranking of DAOs by members and by value. And I tend to compare often, you know, for sometimes people may wonder like, okay, well, Babelverse looks cool and it can build community, but how is it related? And I've compared it in previous calls to the sort of like the Aave Gotchi from Aave. And it's really interesting because the Aave treasury has about 700 million in their treasury. It's like number 4 DAO by treasury amount. And then Aave Gotchi, it's number 13. They have 74 million. So about 1/10 of what they have, but it's really interesting that from the Aave community, then the Aave Gotchi sort of like DAO also came out, and it's sort of like a very good synergy, like a good relationship between these two projects and how they can feed off each other. Also in terms of members, the Aave DAO should have, let me just double check here, and they have about 100,000 wallets participating, and then on Aave Gotchi it's like 23,000 wallets, so that's a difference of like a quarter. But still really interesting. So I think it's just a great initiative that can really help grow the BabelFish community. But in particular, I'm most excited about how can we incentivize some sort of learning with question pop-ups and things like that. So pretty interesting fact over there.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing those numbers and getting that data and knowing those facts, because yeah, I think that the more that we look at other projects, let's say for example Decentraland, their initial ICO raised quite a bit. I think it was like 27 million or something, 24 million, something like that. And they built with a team of like 10 or more for a couple years, and they produced some stuff. It's cool, and it's their token price is up, and there's a lot of excitement around that project. But when we played it, we were sort of like, oh, well, we'd like there to be more interactivity and more stuff. And so in some ways we kind of sit on the shoulders of giants who solved and navigated a lot of those early blockchain gaming challenges. But here we are kind of thinking like, oh, we wish that blockchain gaming had come a little bit further in this time. And then also in terms of the synergy that you speak to, I just kind of want to quickly touch on the kind of the topic of crypto and idealism, because this is very important. Let's just acknowledge that what we're doing here as a community in a DAO, if you're part of a DAO at all, it's because you at some level believe in decentralization. You believe that we as a community have the power to take financial sovereignty into our hands in a trustless environment, and that the need to solve a lot of the world's issues and grievances can be solved by people taking more personal accountability, more personal responsibility, and that can be sort of distilled down into the simple message of hodl your keys, and get on that DeFi train. So continually, many projects popping up, very exciting projects, always in DeFi and crypto, always. There'll never be a shortage of new and exciting. I mean, that's what drives this market right now, is things that are new and flashy and shiny. So since we know that and we're aware of that, and that dynamic of kind of crap coins and meme coins and collapsing market caps, we don't want to contribute to that. And we see that there's a lot of bubble type of things happening in the NFT space and all that. It's one of the reasons why we didn't just rush to market with an NFT sale and just kind of try and exploit the buzz on it, because we don't think that will be sustainable. It's not a model that we really want to follow. So we're pioneering something where we're taking the self-assured approach that will build something beautiful, and it will be successful because it's truly unique. And in the sense that we do want people to come back, right? We want them to have a reason to stay, a reason to come, a reason to stay, and a reason to get involved, a reason to actually maybe put that other project on the back burner and start developing for BabelFish, start earning some tokens because you see the opportunity here. And that's sort of a synergistic thing too. When the various projects that I've been involved with, I got deeper and more involved because, and I abandoned other projects that I was working on because I saw the opportunity there that I could contribute. And I didn't have to be a sophisticated developer and blockchain programmer to contribute. I could contribute with my skills. And that was an opportunity and a path for me to contribute and feel like I was participating. And that is something that I'd like to see emulated with other creative people, because a lot of us are the dreamers and the people who want to make that change. So finding ways for the creatives to make meaningful contributions in the blockchain world, to me is a real core intention behind what we're doing with Babelverse. So thank you guys all for all of your attention and time and commentary on it and your feedback. Please, we can always want and solicit and need more of that. So join us in the story school. We're going to be carving out a grant and a new Babelverse school with a Babelverse improvement proposal in the forum. So if you're not on the forum yet, forum.babelfish.money, get on there, get involved in the conversation, and we can't wait to chat with you guys.
Thank you for that, Novax. It's always great hearing updates there. Again, guys, we're at 45 minutes on the call. Feel free, again, there's no such thing as stupid questions. So any burning questions that you may have in terms of like expected direction, timelines, developments in the ecosystem, that's what we are always trying to get in these calls. I understand that many of you are, just passively listening on this Monday. That's totally fine. We also shared, in the questions chat, the links to the Git book and the links to the governance, which is now being tested on mainnet. So if you can try to experiment with the staking, just put a small amount. If it works, great. If you find a bug, share it with us on the general chat, so we can look at that and start voting. Once we feel like, okay, enough feedback, it looks like everything checks and ready for takeoff. And again, the other call, it's besides participating on testing the governance by staking, it's always check out the bounties page. If you don't see something there, again, you have the babelfish.money/join, and there's a form to be filled there, and we check it every week. So if you see that, if you think that you can help in any way, whether it be from strategy to adoption to marketing, or even by recommending an amazing developer and be rewarded for it, just fill in the form and let us know. There's a box there for additional context. So yeah, I think that's our usual call at the end of the weeklies for your participation. We really want to meet you all, whether it be through voice call, but in particular to build with you the final project that we want BabelFish to be, and that's what we're here for. So yeah, feel free to jump, guys. We'd love to hear from you. We want to build with you, and this is a product for us. So otherwise, we will begin adjourning the call, and we will be listening to you to Discord regularly.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Coming through loud and clear.
Sweet. I just wanted to jump in. I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to say I really, really like what you guys are doing here. I think you're going in a really, really good direction with the whole Babelverse, the gaming, just all of that. It's, I think, really, really smart to do that right now. Because, I've been doing a lot of research over the past week or two about all the metaverse stuff that's happening, all the gaming. I do think that crypto will sort of go into the gaming direction, and I think that gaming is kind of like eating the internet. So it's like, I think it's all going to kind of come together. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to, play test it, and wow, super cool.
Right on. Thank you for that feedback. Lightbringer, you're coming to us from Sovryn community. Can you tell us just like kind of quickly what you do with Sovryn and how it's going with you guys over there and stuff?
Yeah, I don't work with the Sovryn team like directly or anything. I've just been an early investor, and I, try to get on all the calls and read all the updates, and I've just been very passionate about that project. So I, jumped on this project when I saw that it was coming up, and just really happy to see the direction you guys are taking it, because I think it's the right way to go. So.
Right on.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I think I've seen you over there in the Sovryn forum, a bit too. And yeah, I appreciate your comments and your feedback. It's always very insightful. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'm wondering, I think we can stop probably the recording now, and then leave the last 7 minutes just for freestyle.
The anons, the deep anons.
Hey guys, am I audible?
We can hear you.
Yeah. So I was basically for 5 minutes trying to unmute myself. Finally figured it out. So basically, I was in the latest that Sovryn community call, which was held on 28th October. And in the call, I think Eden mentioned about like Bitcoin backed stable coin minting, and also they are proposing to bring on board some other stable coin, if I'm not wrong. So, like, whether you guys are involved in that, like in some way, or you have discussed about that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Suryansh. So that's a separate project. So Sovryn is doing sort of like a federation of DAOs or DAOs within DAOs, and I believe that the Zero project that you're referring to is to basically borrow dollars at a 0% rate. It looks really cool, and they are probably going to be also launching via the Origins platform, as I understand it. So yeah, so that is actually good for BabelFish. So BabelFish, it's a stablecoin aggregator, although it's separate. We can see once that product is ready, the XUSD or the $0. There's no reason for dollars against your Bitcoin for 0%. And then we could vote if we think that it's a safe project, a certain percent of our basket to be the $0. And then it can be used as XUSD, but it will also give the $0 users the facility to move to another chain via BabelFish. So that's the beauty. All of these developments that are happening across stablecoins, across chains, it's only making the pie larger. And because of the composability of the ecosystem, also developments in sort of like DeFi lending products, as well as cross-chain solutions, atomic swaps, bridges, they're just evolving. So we're just pacing our time properly, and all of this is only going. It's all good for us. Basically, it's a separate project. We're excited about it, and then we're likely to have a vote on whether adding it to our basket, and which is most likely what's going to happen.
Okay. So like I had some other thoughts. So like you guys are not seeing this as a potential competition to XUSD because another stablecoin is coming up, so it might affect our liquidity and stuff. Because right now, what I understand, we have grant plans, but right now we are heavily centered around Sovryn app. And so if another stablecoin comes up on the Sovryn, then that might create a competition and might affect our market share, I would say.
Yeah, so I would compare that also. For example, there's an existing Bitcoin-backed stablecoin that you're familiar with probably called Dollar on Chain. And then there's also RDoc, which is backed by Riff. Right now, XUSD, the last stablecoin added before governance was RDoc. And there's basically no it's the thing with decentralized stablecoins is that they tend to be they're not capital efficient. It's hard to scale, and they don't have much liquidity. So the value proposal of BabelFish to stablecoin issuers, there's value proposals to users, to stablecoin issuers, and to protocols. The value proposal to stablecoin issuers like the Zero project is that they can compete against larger centralized stablecoins that have liquidity, right? Which is a problem that, for example, the Money on Chain team has. They have a lot of Bitcoin backing their stablecoins, but there's very, as I showed in the screen share earlier, and the amount of USD liquidity from DOC, it's like less than 3 million, I think, even though it has, I don't know, like more than 12 million in BTC. So not only for the Zero project, that's on the side of Sovryn, right? But then you also have Liquidity, which is from the Ethereum side, which is very similar. It's like 110% collateralized with Ethereum dollar. And then, like for them, they're growing in liquidity, but it would be also much easier for them to compete if they're part of a bucket that's used in protocols than competing as a standalone, right? So that is the offer for stablecoin issuers. Then you have the offer for users, which is the ability to move their stablecoin across chains, without losing much value. And then the value proposition for protocols to integrate XUSD is to basically absorb stablecoin liquidity in a more efficient way, and to also have a simpler, user interface, where instead of having a bunch of different of your cryptocurrency on your DEX or DeFi protocol trading against a bunch of stablecoins, it could just be against XUSD for deeper liquidity. So this is just, I think that the reason that Sovryn, and I'm just speculating, but the reason that Sovryn is doing this is because Sovryn is very much focused on the Bitcoin only community. So we are bringing to RSK a lot of stablecoin liquidity from people that may not be Bitcoin only and they have stablecoins and they want to come over to RSK, but they may find they already have these stablecoins. Now Zero, it's great for people that don't want to move their Bitcoin over to like a KYC and then get like a stablecoin. They can simply, without KYC, no problem. They just deposit their stablecoins and then they can get these dollars, which then, if it's accepted in BabelFish, they can exchange to USDC and never having had gone to like a centralized exchange or, all with their Bitcoin, right? Without having to change their Bitcoin for Ethereum or anything. So they're actually quite complementary. So that's what we mean by saying that, the whole development around stablecoins and DeFi just grows the pie larger, right? We see this as a win-win, not as a zero-sum game.
Okay.
Couple
Okay.
Couple
Thanks,
other
man.
questions. Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Hi. Can you hear
Shark
me?
had asked, are there any sex listings planned or marketing as such to get the word out for Fish Token? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of I've seen Sovryn receive this question many times as well. And I think the answer is kind of the same from us, which is that, yeah, we don't, and as far as I know, and Dark Knight, do you agree with this? I think probably that we're not really like hunting for centralized exchange listings. That's not really our approach. But as far as marketing and so forth, yeah, we will ramp up marketing, but we are building the tools that we think are essential before putting too much resources behind the marketing. So that's a matter of timing and development. And then two things to answer the prior question, just in a maybe a more concise way, with regard to the market share, utility and confidence. Let's call it that, trust, right? So I mean, that's what's really going to drive market share in any industry at all. So utility is there, and we're growing it. And then as far as trust, I think that's really the value proposition of XUSD and of BabelFish as an aggregator, is to fill the gap in trust when it comes to stablecoins. And that area is one that is growing, mistrust of the stablecoin market because it's full of all sort of idiosyncratic and regulatory risk. So our value proposition is one of trust. So I think that's good for market share with regard to stablecoin market in general. And then, yeah, of course, confidence and trust being synonymous, but then the utility, of course, must be the driver, right? You're just not going to use the market share won't arrive because we all have different tokens on different chains. We're all interested in different projects. The question is, what makes somebody sell their stablecoin holdings on one network and bring them over to another, and liquidate assets in one project and bring them to another. And so, yeah. We are always vying against other projects for the relevance, but in terms of stablecoins, the people who are holding large amounts of stablecoins are a specific type of user, traders usually. So we want to look to those markets as well. Stablecoin projects that are existing in environments where there's stock pegs, those seem like good bridges from my perspective. There's a lot of that going on. So just wanted to touch on those considerations. And then there was other questions. So who was else about to ask? Was that you, Nimesh? I think you had a question or two that you posted in the chat.
Yeah, not about question. I have one more question about is there is any plans to do cross-chain bridge like BNB to ETH, like Binance chain to ETH chain?
Can you rephrase that? So right now we're using the first integration that we've had was, again, like from Sovryn, like where we're being incubated, and we're using Sovryn's bridge right now, which is basically to and from RSK to ETH and Binance chain. That's where we are now. So we're accepting stablecoin deposits and withdrawals to Ethereum, Binance, here in Binance and RSK. And then most likely, and again, this will be a proposal, everything will be voted on, including stablecoins. Most likely the next one, just because it's EVM and because they have grants, it's likely to be Avalanche. And then after that, it's all speculation, but that's most likely the next one.
We have a lot of votes for TUSD as well, I believe. True USD, is that right?
Yeah, for Terra Dollar, there's a lot of community members that have been mentioning it a lot. And Terra seems to be getting a lot of, again, this is why the forum, when it gets proposed, which again, it's going to be one of the first proposals to add a stablecoin is Terra. Even though it's algorithmic and, there's some issues going on with it, it seems to be getting a lot of adoption and trust. So I'm curious to see what sort of like maximum percentage of it we will allow. So yeah, I don't think it should be so big, but that's definitely one of the first ones that we're looking to vote in. So yeah, so Avalanche for the next chain and Terra for the next stablecoin. Those are the most likely first votes, and after that, it's up to us as a community. And also these ones, right? It's just these are the most obvious choices.
And you guys saw what happened this last year with the Wall Street bets phenomenon, with the the GameStop stock and everything, and it was much more than that. It was much more than that. And so the whole stock trading world woke up to the fact that there was sort of a centralized problem in those centralized exchanges. And so you started to see more stock pegs show up on the blockchain. And because of that, you saw whole stablecoin ecosystems emerge to facilitate and support people wanting to take profits from those stock pegs and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of new things happening there that are creating opportunities for us to provide those solutions. I'm excited about TUSD and what's happening over there.
Awesome, guys. We are now at the exact hour since we started the conversation. I think we can adjourn the call unless there's one question, but I don't see anybody sort of like interrupting for a question. So just to be respectful and mindful of everybody else's schedule or potential holidays, I think we can adjourn this meeting. The links were shared again on the questions chat. Again, always check out babelfish.money/join if you feel that you can help the protocol achieve its objectives. And until then, we will see you on the general chats or in other school chats. And yeah, speak again 2 weeks time from now, same place, same time. Thank you.